Alrighty, yo, what is up, mates? Just Rick here, back with some more DFO Blitz. This time on my Dragon Lancer, Dragon Boy, the Dragon one, guys. And we're gonna go ahead and jump into the interdimensional rift. I don't want to do too many of these videos in here, but I do figure this is some new, relatively new content, and I've been doing it a ton on the stream. And the thing about it is, I've already done all of the, grinding that I need to with the OV and the ancient merch, so it's not necessary for me to really do this. I've gotten pretty much everything, but I wanted to take this video to kind of explain what you might want to do with this content. You can see I'm pretty geared on this guy already. This dungeon is like a mosh pit of different types of stuff that will be helpful for you in the long run. Okay, if you're a new character and you just got to max level, like say for instance I did get to max level on this guy, this is the dungeon you want to do. It's like immediately after you do it. It's very simple. You can see I pretty much killed everybody with ease. You can see my gear though, and there's a lot of gear in here that I've attained. Not here now because they merged the two systems, but basically the two dungeons that this dungeon used to be before they merged it is where I got almost all of the gear that I have on right now. My Gracia set, this bracelet, all of the stuff down here, almost all of this, like this whole Chronicle set, this Tainted piece, this Sea God leggings, all of that shit, basically everything but these three equipment right here, I got in this dungeon. Everything I'm wearing right now, minus the epic, is something I got in here. So basically all I'm trying to say is, this Requiem weapon down there, do this dungeon. If you get to max level, and you get level 90, and that's the whole purpose of the DFO Blitz series. If you guys remember, I was trying to hypercharge all my characters to the max level very quickly. After you get to max level, this is the stuff you want to do, okay? So I'm just going to do a couple runs to kind of tell you about that, because I don't want to explain it here in this video about why you want to do that, but trust me, okay, that you get 5 chances a day in this dungeon. It costs, I think, 5 endless eternity. Do it and learn about the reasons why you want to do it later, okay? Just trust me on that. But that's going to be the next guide video I make, by the way. I'm going to be talking about the buff system, the buff swap system, because that's mainly why you do this dungeon, is you get a bunch of your buff swaps, but you also will be farming your legendary set, which is the equipment I have here. But this buff enhancement window, that will be the next guide video I make. I want to talk about every piece of gear slot in here and why you got to do it, because honestly, this stuff right here, guys, this buff enhancement, if you're not using it already, you are like half as weak as the next guy who is using it, okay? So it's like that important. So this dungeon is how you get most of the items that you put into that swap system though. Anyway, we'll end off with this run here, but guys, let's talk about the Dragon Lancer and not other shit. Dragon Lancer, I don't know what it is about this guy. At first, I wanted to say, oh yeah, he plays a lot like Battle Mage, right? Because every time he casts a skill, he has the option to either throw a Servant Lance or a Servant Lance Assault, which is a hold. But the Servant Lance are the little spears that are behind you. Basic attack, I shoot a little spear out. Boom. See how I'm throwing the spears? Those don't do any damage, and you can't even fucking level them. So I don't even know the purpose, honestly. Yeah, let me cast this skill right here. And hold him to death and insta-give him. But yeah, so he has the option to throw spears after any attack or basic attack, and that's basically his gimmick. His main call to fame as a class, though, is going to be his wide array of holds, and holds with low cooldown. I mean, the Servant Lance is a very, very good hold with a 10-second cooldown. He also gets a hold with a head penetration. He gets a hold with his first and second awakenings, and again, low cooldown hold, big deal. So this guy is going to be holding a lot. You can consider him kind of like a DT, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if you want to call him that. But one of those types of classes, just specializing in hold. Now you can see I'm doing quite a bit of damage too, but that's mostly because I already did TOD, got an epic set, got Gracia set to complement the epic set, so I got pretty lucky there. But we're gonna go ahead and go into Bloody Lane, which has been my favorite dungeon to farm as of late, when I'm just trying to farm regularly because of all of the terranium that I've found myself needing, because that is going to be basically another thing that you're going to want to do eventually, is a bunch of econ farming, and terranium is the main limiter for me, because it requires you to basically finish content that is here in the Pandemonium region. So this dungeon, Bloody Lane, is a good combination of easy enough to do. It's easier than some of the other dungeons on Slayer difficulty, but then it also gives you the most Terranium, and then finally it also even gives you a higher drop chance of uniques, which is not too important at level 90, but just keep that in mind that this dungeon has a lot of benefits to it. The only problem is you don't get to choose what boss you fight, and did I hit the hole? I think I missed it, but I'm gonna kill him anyway. Boogoosh! So that's why I like doing this dungeon. But you know, just because we're talking about it, there's a couple other gear that I haven't explained how to get. Like for instance, this comes from Melvin Shame's quest. This comes from Carnelian. So if you've leveled a character recently, you get these daily quests over here, like this. Well, not this one, but yeah, pick up this quest to get the purification stones. But this one right here, like for instance your daily quest, defeat certain monsters, defeat a certain number of bosses to get Carnelian, and you're gonna need Carnelian to get basically any Halidom. So these two are Halidom equipment. You need Carnelian and shit like that, but then do the Melvin Shame, which also needs Carnelian. So basically I've covered how to get every single piece that's down here for my swap. You know, I used either a combination of Carnelian or just farming the ancient dungeons. Over here, the regular gear is the OV merge again. OV merge, and then these two last pieces of gear that I'm using, which is making me pretty dang strong, is what this purification stone is for. And you farm purification stones by just killing these bosses at any difficulty past, well, any difficulty really. So you can farm any of these Times Square, basically all the 5 Pandemonium dungeons, you farm those, and that's how you do it. So honestly guys, if you want a secret to how to gear up at the end game, I've just explained everything. Okay, the 2 dungeons you need to do, your ancient OV merge farming, whatever they're calling it now. You need to do that. You need to get this purification, these accessories, because they're basically the best ones that you can farm intentionally. Go ahead and do that. And then lastly, I haven't explained it yet, but do TOD to get yourself an epic weapon. Generally it's going to be level 80, but that's going to be strong enough for you, most likely. I mean, 80 epics are still stronger than most items. And if it's not stronger and you get a really bad level 80, you still always have the option to get the Requiem Spear, or Liberation Spear I should say. I just got Rhythm Rider. You still have the option to get the Liberation due to you farming Ancients again. So there you go. If you're watching this video and you're like, I'm level 90, I don't know what to do, I've just literally explained a ton of stuff you can do to make your character at least as strong as this one, which is pretty dang strong. I gotta say, I'm doing the highest level normal content in the game right now, and I'm having like no issue whatsoever. So use a 2-way. I don't think I can one-shot this guy, but yeah, I can't do that. This guy interestingly has a few moves that he can cast in the air, which I kind of like. He has like, I just use the Servant Lance, which is a hold. Usually it's a hold spear and it shoots downwards, but if I cast it in the air, I get a little AoE hold instead. So that's a pretty cool little thing you can do. I learned that while I was leveling, and I was using Servant Lance to actually kill AoE groups of mobs really nicely, because it did just enough damage to kill trash mobs, but you know, it was just a basic attack like that. So nowadays it's not nearly as strong enough, but you know, it's still pretty good for the whole potential. So anyway guys, one thing I noticed about this character, I mean, everybody's gonna build their character differently. I'm one of those guys who really doesn't care about the meta or how most people build their characters. I really just focus around the skills that I kind of like, and one skill that I didn't end up picking was the Scale Grinder. Usually every class in the game picks up their level 45 skill. It generally is the best bang for your buck in terms of leveling a skill for damage. It has generally the lowest cooldown with the highest damage. It's a very key skill. But in this case, I never found it to be. I found it to be too expensive for the effect. It's a very odd situation. Almost every class I would vouch for the level 45 skill, but this character, I have not justified that. So instead, I use all the other points to get my higher level skills and a few of my lower level skills, like this one right here. I like it a lot because it does a lot of. It hits well, it groups well, and it's just nice to spam that. So. His basic attack is pretty decent on this character, mostly because he can shoot, kind of like the Battle Mage again, a few chasers, or I call them chasers, but they're just the spears. You can shoot the spears out like this and kill trash mobs pretty easily, so I kind of like that aspect too. Ooh, I forgot somebody. And now I woke somebody up. Come on now! And he has some good setups, like right here, check this out, okay? I mean, that right there is a hold. That does a big burst of damage. You don't actually see the spear, but I did shoot a spear out. And and hit him with a 1A to finish him off. And ton of damage. This is again, I remind you, the hardest difficulty dungeon for normal content is the Slayer difficulty dungeons. This guy, I think, is viable to start bringing into raids. You know, to make themselves more appealing in raid. If their character is not in like full econ gear, then people might not see it as full damage. I would see this character as being pretty decently geared enough to come into raid and do some amount of damage, especially even if this character is considered like holding and such. But some people like to get like the supporting sets. I personally don't like them, but I think this character is definitely ready to bring into a raid just as a sub deeps. I mean, you're not going to be doing any kind of carrying status, and you're definitely going to need a satyr to do anything, but definitely would consider accepting a guy who is in this type of gear. This is basically the best type of gear that you can get very easily by farming on your own. You know, farming content that is guaranteed. It's not going to take you very long. I'm saying just like a few weeks. So put in that effort. Okay, the epic weapon is going to take you a few weeks, but you know, try to get yourself a liberation weapon as quickly as possible, because you know that's going to be even. It's a guaranteed option, and it's very, very strong. I remember back in the day, I mean, people kind of sleep on the liberation, but back in the day, the liberation used to be the best in slot for some characters, like for a long time, because the epics weren't as good as they were now. So, you know, just keep that in mind. I kind of wanted to spend a video talking about all of the. Hopefully, I know this is weird in a one-off video on a certain class, why I'm talking about some endgame stuff, but. Just keep in mind I'll be making a guide video on some of these stuff, you know, in the future, kind of expanding on them, but that's kind of what this character has done. I've kind of prepared this character to get into raids. I don't actually intend to raid on him because I don't like him that much, but, you know, at the very least, he can do raids with the gear setup that I have set up for him. So just keep that in mind, you know. Oh, shit. I just missed my combo. There's a big spear attack that I also missed. Dude, she's dodging me like crazy. Let's bring her back into the fray so I can use a 1A and miss. Come back down and kill her. Yeah. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to spew off a bunch of stuff, a bunch of tips for you guys. So hopefully that you're watching this and you feel like you're stuck, like you don't know where to go from here, you don't know what to do. I just gave you a ton of stuff you could do. Obviously, I'm stopping the video short, but continue and do that daily quest. To get the purification stones. This quest well, let's complete this Carnelian quest. But this quest over here, basically, the 4 Metro Center quest. Because you need these purification stones. You can then use those stones to purchase these 2 accessories right here at the NPC. I mean, where is he? The furry's not here anymore. They changed the NPC to this character right here, the Red Witch. She has your reconstruction gear. Generally, the reconstruction weapon's not very good. Use the liberation if you need to farm one, or use the TOD weapon. But instead, look at the area legendaries. Okay, these 2 are the ones I picked up, the necklace and the ring, because the bracelet I opted to choose the Great Glory. Only do this if you don't have a Smash mod right now. I don't have a Smash mod, so great idea to have something to give you a Smash mod. It even gives you a 5% crit Smash mod too. So anyway, that's getting too much into details. Pick up this gear, guys. All of this shit that I have right now, almost all of it, I farmed for it, and it took me like not very long. So make it a prerogative. Make sure you look at this and you actually try to work towards your buff enhancement system. Honestly, guys, this gear set is just as important as this gear set. Okay, so take some time, look at your swap set, learn how to do the swap set, and if you don't know about it, well, just keep in mind that's my next guide video. I'm going to be talking all about the buff enhancement system. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'm going to catch you nights later.